Okay, people, third time's the charm, and I think I figured out what it is, and I'm just trying to get this thing to act right. And so I'm on live again, and I don't know why this is wanting to twist itself around, but I'm gonna have to make it do what it do. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna do this again. Thank y'all for bearing with us. This is here we go. So we're gonna get her on your phone. Go to Facebook. So here we go. We're going to definitely get this knowledge and wisdom from this elder. And so I'm very, very excited because I always like learning about culture and all that kind of stuff. Anybody who really knows me know I travel a lot. And part of my travel, what a lot of people don't know, I'm always researching tradition and culture and, you know, figuring out how to re-energize the community to which I belong, for us to reclaim and to recapture our traditions and culture. So that's what you'll see me doing. And so trying to pull Sister Iya on here, the Queen Mother, to talk to us about Obatala. So I'm going to say on your phone. So she was doing it from her computer, and we all know that Facebook Live pretty much works. Hey, cuz, pretty much works from your phone. You know, so that's probably pretty much how that works. So I'm on the phone on Facebook, right? Let's see if we got this down. I'm gonna figure out how to fix this thing to be turning all the time. So let's see, this is our test run on this. So let's just see what happens. All I see is you said 10 minutes ago. Okay, so refresh it. Reopen it. Let me go here. We're gonna get this down, y'all. We're gonna get this down. Okay, let's see here. So here we go. Let's say it okay to close. Okay, y'all. So we're trying to work to get this down. So Iya, if you're on your phone, you know, on your Facebook, and then on, because we're talking to each other, y'all. So I'm trying to Facebook. Let's see, Iya. Okay, there you go. You just sent me a message. I see you. Okay, let's see what's going on. All right, here we go, Iya. You get ready to be on here. I'm a. Oh, I love it when the creators like be patient. It's saying adding, and so it looks like you should be on here in a hot minute. I'm really not understanding what's going on with my grip there. So it's saying adding ear, and so let's see what's going on here. There you go. You're on, Ia.
This was a trip.
Yeah. So this only could do it. Now we're live. We got about 4 people on. I didn't start inviting people yet because I wanted to make sure we were on. And I know third time is usually the charm. So first of all, thank you, Queen Mother, for hanging in there with me, if you could.
Oh, please.
So I'm so grateful.
Obatala is the Orisha of patience. So I guess it was testing us today if we got it going on.
Right. So thank you so much for joining me on Traditional Tuesdays. I just have to do the preface to say Traditional Tuesday is something I learned about from a good friend of mine who lives in New York. And every Tuesday they dress in traditional garb to their job because it's their way of reclaiming African culture. So I followed it out here and was like, Mama, I dress like this every day though. But I was like, I'm gonna make sure I do it on Tuesday. But what I wanted to do is build onto it and talk about paths to the tradition. Because a lot of us, and are trying to reclaim our African self, it's always good to have to get knowledge along the way. So what I thought of, because people are always asking me about the Orishas, I was like, I would love to do Way to the Path and bringing on a different Queen Mother to talk about an Orisha, because most of us don't know what Orishas are. So it's been so many misconceptions. Like I watched something last night and they were talking about devil worship and stuff like that. And it was like, wait a minute, that's not what that is. So I feel like we have to put out our own messages. So I thank you so much. I'm going to make sure I get your name correct. bear with me because I'm a work in progress. So, Queen Mother is what your title is,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah.
Iyalode, Yeyefini, Efunbolade,
Efun.
Efunbolade,
Efunbolade.
Efunbolade. Yes. Okay. So, what does your name mean?
Well, Iyalode is a title which was given to me by the late Oni Siyuwade. Um, gosh, I think it was in 87, 88, something like that. But anyway, it means Queen Mother of the United States. And that was the title that he gave me for the work
Wow.
that I had doing in taking students and always being witness to the greatness of our ancestors and specifically Yoruba culture. So that he gave me. And it was one of those things that I went, brought some students, and I Obatala, which I prostrated myself to him. And when I got up, he says, "You are Iyalode." And I was looking around, and he says, "No, this is your title. You are the Iyalode of the United States." And all other, so he went into this long liturgy. But anyway, that's what that means. Iyalode is the Queen Mother. And so my name, Yeyefini Efunbolade, was given to me at my ordination, my initiation into Obatala in 1971.
Wow.
And so I became a priestess of Obatala. You're given a road or a way or your Odu, whatever it is that you're going to do, whatever your path is, whatever your destiny is, that is your name. So you're wrapped in your name. So when you know your name, you know how to answer. And when I say answer, is in life, not just hello, but actually in life. So my call to life is the mother of purity, or the mother of clarity, or the mother of the white cloth. Fini is something that's pure, so mother of purity. And then Efunbolade is my last name, and I received that in 1971. Yes, the same time, right before that. No, it was 72. I received my last name. Upon my roots reading, which was a foundation reading to find out, because people coming from the diaspora, we don't have a connection as to who is our clan. We're still using the slave master's name and that kind of thing. Efunbolade was the name that was given to me when I got my roots reading, which means that I came from a long line of Obatala priests. And so Efun is the sacred cloth of Obatala. And so white cloth gives birth to honor. So that's the meaning of Efunbolade. Or white Efun, or the white chalk, the sacred chalk of Obatala that you see we dot ourselves up when we're doing ceremonies. And it represents that wherever Efun is marked, whenever Efun is put on the ground, it leaves a, so that the Efunbolade means that wherever I walk, I'm to leave a mark or to leave a proof that I had been there, that I walked the earth. And so that's the title is Efunbolade, means white chalk gives birth to honor. Ade. Bolade, or give birth to the crown, all of those things that goes with it. So that's the meaning of my name.
Okay, so with that being said, how did you even come across this tradition?
Well, it's like this. Life always gives us what it is that we're supposed to do from when we are young. I was born in Panama, in the Republic of Panama in Central America. And so I witnessed some of the ceremonies and rituals. They weren't called Yoruba, they called Bejinite. And so there you had ancestor tables, you had food, candles, people dancing, their heads wrapped in colors. And I lived next door to this. And I smelled it and I loved it. And I was always very enamored with it because I felt like, oh, goodness, this is, it just made me feel at home, And so it was not something that was looked at. It was called, because it was from the descendants of the Caribbean that did these dances. And so they called them, coming back from Jamaica, they were called Bejinite. They were called Obia. But in Bejinite, it gave it a more reliable, because it was, I think it's a mesh of Kumina, which is Jamaican, or Comania. All of those blended into the Panamanian people coming to Panama. The Jamaican people people from the Caribbean coming to Panama to help build the Panama Canal. And so from that, I was exposed to that. And so when I always felt that connection to spirit. And so when I came to America, how I met Obatala was I was at the World's Fair back in the 60s, and I was with my junior high school, and Olatunji was there doing. There was a pavilion called the African Pavilion, and I went there, and they were drumming and dancing, and all of a sudden I felt this shaking inside of me, and I'm shaking, and I'm what is going on? Because you're in the ninth grade, and you're like, this is not cool, because I'm supposed to be all that, I'm from Brooklyn, and so I'm in this thing, and Olatunji comes over. I didn't know him as Olatunji at the time. It's just he said, you're feeling the power of your ancestor, and I'm saying, what do you mean? And he says, the ancestors, who you're from, you're an African, you're from Africa. That's why you're feeling this. So that's how I met the culture. And then later on, when after that, I started being very interested, and I would go up to the Schomburg Library, which is not a cultural center, to the library. And I was in high school to learn all about African spirituality. So at 17, a friend of mine gave me the book Master of Falconhurst, which started a whole series of books, and they had drum and all about Africa. And so I just got immersed in it. So going to the Schomburg Library, I started listening up. I've been studying about Yorubas in specific, because this man Olatunji Yoruba, and so from that I studied that and I learned that. And then when I was in college, I was at a game at homecoming at Shaw University, and I met Abiodun, one of the last poets. And so he said, sister, you are a queen and blah, 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 and you need to get a reading. Well, I knew what readings were because, because I had been studying the sociology at the Schomburg Library. And so he gave me a number. Said, well, when you go home for spring break, I said, well, where can I get a reading? He gave me a number, Mama KK, which may she rest in glory, a priestess of Oshun in Harlem. And I went and got my first reading. And in that reading, it came up all kinds of stuff. The stuff that I'm doing right now is what Mama KK told me. Here you are. I'm 19 years old. I'm 20 years old. I'm exploring who I am. You know how you do stuff in your 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And so that ended up the quest, and the things that were told to me. I was like, no, this is great. There's no way I'm going to do anything like this, because I was an art major, an artist, and I wanted to open a gallery, travel the world and that kind of thing. So I ended up with just what they said I would be doing, I'm doing. So that's how I met Obatala.
So what is an Orisha?
Orisha is, I'm not going to give you, go on Google, and find out what I'm about. What Orisha is actually essence and the connection to God. Orisha is the manifestation of the elements. Orisha is the head source of everything, the energy that the universe knows as water, as air, as fire, as mineral, as all of the elements that we rely on and depend upon. That's what Orisha is. So Orisha is the essence of God in its physical form, making it available to humanity to flourish. Oshun is water, that without water we cannot live. And so Oshun is the energy that we find in the river. But Oshun now, in modern understanding, we've taken water now, we send it through the tap, and it comes into your faucet, and you can cook your food. So that's the essence of Obatala, of Oshun. Yemanja is the essence of the lagoon, the lake, the ocean. In the diaspora we call it of the ocean, of the sea. And so that's what gives the coolness and the rhythm of the moon, and it vibrates. So those are the energies that we use. The mountains, the earth. Earth is an essence that the Olodumare knew that we would need to grow food and to stand upon. Because when the planets were made, which are Orishas, Earth was the planet that was not fertile for what Olodumare's plan was, which is to make human form. And so then it sent, because we don't call Olodumare male, it's both male and female, so I will address it as it. And so Olodumare decided and said, okay, let me now, all of the planets are made, Pluto is made, Uranus, Mercury, Venus, all of them are made. And so we're going to make Earth. And there I'm going to put a life form that I am going to, I guess he said, make my new project. Because, being source, you can decide what you want to do. And so in that it decided that Earth was not ready or not inhabitable to do. And so it summoned Obatala. The energy in the universe is creativity. And creativity was called to say, hey, we need you to go and check out Earth because I have a plan. I'm not telling you what the plan is because Olodumare don't answer to anything. Source does not answer. We don't pay rent for the moon to shine or for the sun to come out. So Olodumare in its magnificence says, okay, this I have a plan and this is what I want to do. And so in it, it said, I want you to go and see if this earth is strong for what it is I want. I need it to be habitable for, it has to be formed and it has to have essence. And so Obatala was sent, and it depends on who is telling the story. You know, the legends of Yoruba history, and that it's just like, remember when we were children, sometimes even as adults, we play the game, we tell somebody a secret at the one end. By the time it ends to the end, is a bold kind of thing. So that's exactly what happened with these stories. I'm going to give you stories of different versions, be what makes sense. Does that make sense? Because you can
Yes.
Google who's Obatala and all of that. You can Google that today. And
Well,
so,
yeah.
okay.
No, go
So,
ahead. I was going to
okay.
say, like, you're from Panama. It seemed like Obatala pretty much, just from my observation. I mean, I'm 46, but you know how you see Oshun, her name changes, you know, as she tries. Obatala just seems kind of consistent. Like every time I've seen Obatala, it's always been the guy with the white cloth. I mean, like it always been somewhat consistent. I don't always see that with Yemayao or with Oshun or with, you know, but it seemed like it's just been kind of consistent, the base of it.
I don't know. I never noticed that because when you see them changing the name, it's not so much a change, just the pronunciation, probably because Oshun is Oshun. She's
Mm-hmm.
going to be river wherever you go. Now in Santeria, I mean, sorry, not Santeria, because that's not what you want to call it. In Lukumi, you may hear it called as Ochung or Madre la Caridad or something to that. But that was just for it to survive. That
Gotcha.
was survive. That's like you being called, your name is Rolanda, but I call you Ro, or somebody could call you Landa. You know, it depends on who's calling you. Your mama will call you Pookie Baby. So it depends.
That's so true.
Was talking to her, but she's always going to be the energy of water, of sweet water. She's
Right.
always going to be energy that lives inside of us in our mouth, which is the
Right.
only in our body that is the only liquid in the body that is saliva. Everything else is salty. Our blood, our sweat, everything, you know, is. And so that's how Obatala, being the father of creation, I guess Obatala is just Obatala, which means the great Orisha, and is referred to the white cloth because that is the way that Obatala forms, and Obatala's essence, and the way that we express and see Obatala is with the white cloth. But Obatala it means the great Orisha. And when I said it's because Obatala was given the responsibility to come and check on earth and make it what it is today. And then Obatala was then given the task of making human form, which is our father, our mother, the essence of creativity. And so that's why Obatala is called the father of all the Orishas, because he created everything, and the father of, he's the owner of all heads. And so each Orisha is, Ori is head, and it's an expression. Your head is an expression of your essence. And so
Mm-hmm.
Obama then becomes the expression of everybody's essence. So he's the owner of all heads. So as the story said, you know, then he came, he checked it out, he brought a chameleon. The chameleon went back and told Olodumare it's not ready. Obatala came back, and the chameleon came back and said, okay, it's time now. It's firm enough. And then Obatala went back. Olodumare told him, I need you to make up people. He made people, and that's how we became humankind and evolved. So there are different versions. We're giving you the quick book.
I know that. So is there an order in the Orishas? Like who came first? Like you said, he was the greatest Orisha. Is that because he was first, or he's
Yes, because I given that title because he was the one that Olodumare, the creator, said to create human form and to check out, and had the ability to have the intuition and the brilliance to know how to put clay with water and how to bring those things together to make a solid foundation for humanity. And for me, Obatala, because you can take the mythological story, historical version of it, or you can take, what is Obatala? Is Obatala this that came on a, some say on a rope, some say on a chain, some say that he, you know, the chain was long enough and he dropped the earth, and he came with a leaf, some say that he came with a snail shell. It's all kinds of stories that goes with it. But the basic premise is that Olodumare set the creative form with mass, with earth, and put it on a watery, on an area that was just water, because earth was water.
Mm.
And put it there, and with the chicken or the pigeon that came with it, the fowl that came with it, it spread, and in spreading, it created the continents and that kind of thing. And so for me, Obatala represents that with us, is the ability for us to be creative, is the ability that we can take the least little thing and through intuiting and through meditation and getting in silence and putting on your white cloth and cutting yourself off from any of the obstructions or distractions, you can create some beautiful, magnificent things. And so that's what make Obatala the great Orisha, is that all of us have that ability because all of us have head.
Mm-hmm.
Can go inside of ourselves and come out with the most beautiful expression of what we feel. And to me, that's what Obatala is. Using your ability to still yourself, to find quiet, to have patience, just like we had the struggle of coming online. That's part of Obatala. Because Obatala is saying, now, how committed are you to this program? Are you going to give up? Are you going to say, well, oh, we couldn't get this, and this is frustrating, and maybe it wasn't my day to be on here? Or Obatala say, just breathe. Just
Mm-hmm.
and know that it's going to come together and it's going to be in perfect alignment with exactly what needs to be said. And so that for me is Obatala. It's always struggle before you have patience. There's always distraction to pull you away from your true essence of who you are. Because you are this brilliant ability that you get quiet, and when you get still, you have the ability to with yourself, to know that forgiveness is like water, to know that gratitude is like seed. And when you put those things together, you can create everything that you're. Because Obatala made us perfect, every last one of us. The genius of Obatala is that when Obatala was called to make human form, the genius was that each one of us and the billions of us that have existed on the planet have only had one fingerprint. Each one of us have one unique print. Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That, that's brilliant. So each one of us are uniquely aligned with our Ori, with our heads, as to what it is that we're going to do when we come on earth.
Mm-hmm.
So how you found out what you came on to do is, of course, through Orumila, who, when human forms are presented, when you're born, Orumila is already there, was already there when you before when you were just a thought or a concept. Orumila was there, so Orumila knows all of the things that you're going to accomplish on earth. Orumila has this because he is that is his job. Each one of the Orishas has a job. Just like I said, Oshun, her job is just to make sure that we have water so that we can drink and so that we can eat and so we can have vegetation. All of it is
Mm-hmm.
tied into Orumila is to remind us of what it is we came on earth. So periodically when you go in and get a reading, what you're actually doing is calling Orumila. Hello, Orumila. Remember the day that you told me that I was born on August 31st, 1947? Now, I am at the age of XYZ and I'm going through some things. I need some insight as to what is it that I said I would do when I came on earth. And he says, oh, good. I'm so glad you checked in. Now, this is what you're doing. These are the situations that you can have. And the Orishas never get angry. They're just waiting for you because it's evolution. All of us are evolving. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. As a matter of fact, that's why I had to go to the chiropractor because I put on heels 2 days in a row and I had to remember, hey, holla, you might be cute, but that's real. So, you know, we every day you change. And so in evolving as a being, then you get to the point where you know you recognize, well, wait a minute. I can make a different choice. I can make a different thing. And so that's what to me about the life. It's just the ability for you to recognize that you're always evolving. And so Orumila's job is to remember this stage of evolution, and that's called Odu. that when you get an Odu, the mark that it comes on the sand, that our genius ancestors were able to tell us. We didn't have to walk around with a big book and hope that, oh God, I hope one day don't burn up and we forget all of the history. We have the songs, we have the herbs, praise, the prayers, and those are the things that brings that back to earth. So Orumila's job is just to remember and to remind us what it is that we need to do and make Ebo. What Ebo is, ritual is actually allowing yourself to connect to the Orisha that lives inside of you, to be able to connect to the Orisha that's outside of you. So let's say, for instance, you go and you get a reading and it says you need to do something to Obatala. It's not telling you that you need to a mountaintop, which that's the harness Obatala. It's saying that you need at this point to still your heart, come from a place of humility, come from a place of peace so that you can tackle what's happening. So when the ritual is done, is to remind you, hey, 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 come back, come back. You got it within your own ori, your own head, what it is that you said you would do when you came on earth. And so today is the day that you're going to show up at such and such. You're going to show up with common sense, with brilliance, with character, and with humility. And so you do the ritual to get away from all the distractions, can make you feel like, yeah, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to bust up, and I'm going to do all that. You know, by the time I said, no, no, no. The way you're going to go in there is you're going to go in with the bright light that you are. You are an expression of being. You're an expression of the divine. And so divinity doesn't come up all up in there with words. It just shows up. And when you show up, he says, ah, yes, it just bows to you.
Right on.
It is, be it a job interview, be it, you know, you got to sit down and talk to your mate, be it something that you don't want to confront, get still. So the ritual to Obatala would be just get still and remember that you are the master of your own destiny. That's all Oromila is, a reminder, and the code, he has all of the codes of how we're going to get back to recognize that, you know, we got this.
So with Obatala, how do you communicate with Obatala though? Is there something that you have to do every day, or do you see? I know you talk about the very essence of Obatala, but is there a certain way you have to communicate when you are made to Obatala?
Yes, with Obatala, the energy of the shrine, there are places, well, the initiation makes you a connecting rod of Obatala. Because during the initiation, your head is painted, and the painting that is done on your ori, on your head, is like a lightning rod that connects you to the essence of Obatala in the universe. So you become white cloth, you become a mountain, you become the owner of a snail, you become all of the essence of Obatala. And so upon your initiation, signal, the sign that is put on you, a recognition of the universe, is a grounding tool. So every day for you to stay connected to that, there are songs that you would chant, there are prayers that you would say. There's a place that you will have that happens to be a shrine. And in the shrine, in the pots, you have stones that have been consecrated with your name, with your essence, with your odu, with your cloth, with your purpose, so that when you talk to it, you remember your purpose. Every time you remember, my name is Mother of Purity. So when I feel like, you know, being human and pop off, it's a, remember what's your name. So every day when I go and I sing Obatala, every morning I'm saying, this is your daughter, Yeyefini, giving thanks to you for opening my eyes, giving thanks to you for my children, giving thanks to you for the work that I will do today, giving thanks to you for my breath, for my health. And so I just want to thank you for that. That's how I communicate with Obatala, first thing in the morning. And then I ask him then for what it is that I would require his help and his support, or her support of, which is give me the calm, give me the dignity and the purpose and the humility, show up as Obatala, show up as my name. And so every morning, that's what every priest does. And you then remember your own taboos, because each of us come back with a scroll, what we call it. And when you come back with this scroll, it is your taboos. It is the things that will make you get whoa and throw you off. And so you remember those things and you do those things. And so whatever is your taboo, you know that you're not to do it, and that will give you the support that you need and what you're going to do for the day. So that's what a priest does. Every priest does that. But for me to connect to Obatala, I remember what my name is. And when knowing my name, I know my purpose. And then I'm able to approach it and come to life, be it on Facebook, be it with my children, be it with the man at the grocery store. I always remember my name is supposed to be, I was born to shed light into the world. So I must remember that at all times.
So you said some keywords. You said Ori. You talked about being a priestess or a priest. You talked about being made or offerings. Those are like, I was trying to think of the African terms for those. And I think sometimes people, we hear those, but those are all part of the way that you communicate, right? Or positions inside of the tradition.
Correct. Yes. So give me one of them that you wanted to translation, or you just want me to address it.
Ori. We can start with Ori.
Ori is your head, is your head source. It is the combination of your common sense, which is your intuition, which is your Ori Inu, which is the things that you know by life, what is going to give you, is the things that say, should I do this or should I? You know what you're going to do. Your intuition tells you what is the correct thing to do. A little baby that's going to take an apple and you told him not to, and he looks at you and try to take it. That's the Ori, that's your head. And so your Ori is the biggest Orisha, because without your head, you cannot live. No one can live without a head. So the Ori is the most important, and that's the thing that you salute every morning. Every morning you give thanks for your head following you and working with you. The things that you want to do, may your Ori support them. May the things that you're thinking be aligned with your destiny and the purpose that you came on earth. So Ori is your head.
Gotcha.
And that's the word Orisha, which is your head source.
Okay. Before I get to the next thing, Sister Teresa is watching and she said, thank you. You are answering so many questions for me. I'm studying Kemetic, but also would like to learn more about this. Can one follow both spiritual paths or not? I feel like I have to choose one or the other when both speak to me.
You know, because in the
question.
Oser is Oser. Oser is the same thing as Obatala. Oser is the one that, go through the same kind of struggle. And at some point in this talk, I would love to talk about how is it that some of the struggles that we go through in life, we have to look back and know that it's part of building our character. And so with Oser is Obatala. And so Oser is the energy that all of us know that we have to go back to find peace and grounding. So you don't have to make a choice. You can be a Christian, you can be a Buddhist, you can go a Muslim, you can do whatever it is that you're Ori, because some of us come on earth to experience all of those paths to lead us to a place of serenity. None of it is that I used to do that and that was wrong. No, it's all part of who you are. It's like you saying, I mean, I don't even make it explain, because it is, but you don't have to make a choice. You could do a Ser. I have studied Kemetic religion. I've included in my meditation. I have used Kemetic in my class. I do a class on introduction to African spirituality. Introduction to Yoruba cosmology. And in it, I have the name of each of the Kemetic deities, because according to the Yoruba, that's where we descended from. We're descended from Egypt. And so from Kemet. And so when you're talking about Oser, I would be talking about Obatala. When we're talking about Oset, I would be talking about Yemonja. When we're talking about Heru, I will be talking about Shongo. When we're talking about Eshu, we will be talking about Sebek. So you don't have to choose. They're all there for you. I speak Spanish, I speak English, I speak a little Yoruba, I understand Portuguese. That doesn't mean that, I just choose English as my dominant language, because, hey, that's what I communicate with. So if Oser is who you choose, you don't have to choose Oser or Batala. They're all, Oser uses white cloth.
Wow. That's a great way of explaining it. That's a great question, because some people always feel like when you're practicing something, it should not make you have to make someone else your enemy. If I meet someone and they practice a different tradition or whatever, anything, I mean, treat and learn a few things, but it should never make me feel like, well, mine is before yours, mine is better. And it's like, dude, if it's making you kind of belong to a game, dude. I don't know. But I just feel like I love your response, because I feel like sometimes in this world, people try to make you choose immediately. And it's like,
when we're looking at it with fear, anything that's based on fear limits your intelligence as to choosing what makes sense to you.
Right on.
So if you continue coming from fear, then you're going to say, oh Lord, if I do that, oh, I'm not going to get into the kingdom. Oh, I'm going to be a bad person. No, you have the right. If this don't make sense to you, then cut it off, delete. Or use it as a way of going back and say, why is it that I'm not using that? But when you're coming from a place that's fear and that if you don't do this, then this is going to happen to you, that's not normal. Not normal, because the universe is so beautiful that just like we have poison ivy, we have roses could be growing right next to each other. And that poison ivy is a bad thing and you shouldn't touch it, and it's all, poison ivy has its purpose. Just like a rose or a tomato can be growing next to something, that a nightshade that is poisonous, berries that are poison. Look at what's it, I forgot this herb that you can use, you can eat, that is like spinach, poke salad. Poke salad. Poke salad in the spring it's the most delicious herb, but in the fall when it makes the seeds, those little seeds are poisonous. It's the same plant. So you have to know what time and what season. So it's not that, oh, poke salad is this bad thing. It depends on who picked it and what time of the year. Yeah, so each of us have different things that grow us to where we are. And so we cannot be like, oh, mine is better than that. And that there's an ongoing argument that traditional is and lukumi and voodoo and all. That is ridiculous. Obatala looks on the mountaintop and said, I created all of this. I created all of you to interact, and y'all have different colors, y'all have different creeds, y'all have different sex. You're all completely different. You're unique unto yourself, and each one of you that run into each other, y'all are supposed to meet each other in a place of love. So fear don't have anywhere with reality. It's not real. Fear is some stuff that illusion, false what is it? False appearances, you know, that
false evidence appearing real.
Appear to be real. So it's not real. So when you come from any fear-based understanding that God is vengeful, is going to get you and all of that, I don't believe my mother would kill me because I decided to spit. That's not the God I serve.
Right on. So being chosen, or when Orisha chooses you, what is that?
Each one of us, as I said, we have a scroll in life. And somewhere in the scroll in life, you're supposed to be a communicator. That's why you're doing this show. Somewhere in your chart, if you get an astrological chart, it's going to tell you have something prevalent in Mercury. Mercury is the aspect of us that we call a shu or a legba, or the connector of, you know, the one that makes opportunity, but is the master of communication. He's the master of words. So somewhere in your chart, you have a prominent aspect of communication, of a shu, and that's why you do shows that you're interested in knowing people's opinions and ideas and talking. So when you are initiated, when you choose, when you are chosen, it's because you have that ashe. All of us come back on earth with a special gift, with several special, and that's what gives us our passion. And the way that you develop it, it depends on where you are in your life and who you are around to support it or to negate it or make it feel less. Does that answer the question?
Yes. So when that happens, how do you okay, so that happens. What makes the person go to the next step to being the priestess of an Orisha?
Okay, so when you're saying, you asked the question of chosen. When you're chosen, it means that it's not that eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's that when you were born, you had that ashe, that purpose. Orumila reminds you, hello, when you left, you said you would be this, you would be a musician. So now we're calling on all the musicians. And there's a guild of musicians that's going to play the music on earth to make people dance to the rhythm, finding peace and being nice to each other and finding love is the only reality. And so if your gift is love, then, I mean, if your gift is music, then you, at that time. So everyone is not supposed to be or ordained to be a priest for whatever it is that they want. Some people are born to be doctors, musicians, lawyers, attorneys, all of this. And sometimes you need extra powers or extra support and you may have to receive initiation for supporting your role as the things that I aforementioned. And so when you get a reading, it doesn't say automatically everybody has to become a priest. Everyone has come on earth with their ashe. Some people have to have it more reinforced, and some people already come with it enforced. And so,
Mm.
because there are billions of people that never knew Orisha and never got initiated, but had became, look at Michael Jackson. He had a natural ashe for music
Mhm.
and established music. Look at Bob Marley, natural ashe,
Mm.
natural ashe to do what it is that they came on earth to do. And we're still singing their song, and they're still making an influence in where we were, what we're doing, and how we should do to evolve, because that's what your purpose is. So when you get a reading and you get a consultation and you find out who your head Orisha is and all of that, that's a whole process. And today I'm just love this millennium people like y'all. Y'all are wonderful that y'all are young, y'all are vibrant, y'all are who we were in the 60s. We got African understanding that we're African and we have our own religion. Y'all are going after it, grabbing at it. I love it. And so the thing that I would say here is that we need to be patient. We need to be patient in our search for God, because God is inside of us already. Just make the prayer that you want to find what resonates in your soul and take your time to get a reading and find out what's your head Orisha. Now, this is not something like, back in the 70s, we would say, what's your sign? My sign is, my sign is Yemanja, just to be the bright one in the room.
Right.
No, it's about taking your time and studying. What's the next step is finding out what is it that you need to help you to be a better person. That's all it is. And if it requires a ritual, it requires you to take a class, it requires you to do a little more study.
Mhm.
When you wake up in the morning, you pray for what you want, it comes to you. It could come to you in a person, it could come to you through a song, it could come to you through you Googling and something else, somebody's name shows up. All of that comes to show you the path. As the next step is just always be praying for that. Once you get a reading, just as I did, and they told me what to do, and I was running from it, all the things that I was doing just led me right back to what it is that I was supposed to do. So don't push it, don't force it. Because if you force it, you're going to miss some things. You're going to miss the things that is your natural flow. And always be grateful for what you've been through. And always accept that you know who you were yesterday, and apologize and come from a place of complete understanding that you're not perfect and neither is anybody else, so don't pass any judgment, and just take your time and spiritually Google the person that you're going to go into. When I say spiritually Google, the world is small. You ask
Mhm.
somebody who knows somebody about that person, and it's going to lead you to who the person is or some kind of connection, and you get your reading and you do the rituals and the services and that kind of thing. So the next step is always about finding out how to support what you're already doing, because you already know you came on earth with it. You're wired for something, whatever it is your passion is.
So, what is the purpose of being a priestess or a babalao?
Okay.
What are those purposes?
The purpose is, as was told to me by my elders, is you're a custodian of the culture. You're a custodian. A custodian. Remember when we're in school and the custodian was able to always go back to the custodian if you lost your ring, your earring, it is that you left, you go and ask the custodian because he knows or she knew exactly where it was. So you are supposed to help people to find what it is they're supposed to be doing on earth. So you're the keeper. You're the keeper of people's life, in as much as you keep the culture, you keep the songs, you keep the respect, the dignity. You carry yourself in such a way that people can find help and assistance in supporting what their destiny is. So as a priest or babalawo or iyanifa or iya shongo or moba or whatever it is that they go with each one of these orishas, olosha, yalosha, olorisha, aborisha, any of it, all of it is about being a custodian to hold the sacred principles of humanity in check and be able to learn the tools that will help each one of us process our journey on earth in our Odu, which is the the cloth that you came written down with, the name, the purpose that you came with, so that you can remember that.
Okay, with that being said, offerings. Why do we make offerings?
Offerings are a connection to you giving something that is meaningful to you. Everything requires, if you're going to graduate, you got to stay. If you're going to eat, you got to kill something. So you killing a plant, you kill a banana plant when you take off its children. So you're always giving back to what you take from the universe. And so when you take from the universe abundance, you put offerings so that you can be abundant again. And then sometimes you eat the fruit and the food that is there because it's been blessed. So offerings that are given to you is your way of extending your giving gratitude and asking and hoping that you will reciprocate is reciprocity is that you will get some more of what it is that you require because you're giving back to source, you're giving back to nature.
So, what kind of offerings would you make to Obatala? If that is the Orisha you're making the offerings to, what is he or she known for?
Obatala, you give white cloth, I mean white foods, all kinds of white foods. You could mash yams, Obatala, um, mashed potatoes. You can give rice. You can give bread. You can give white fruits, what we call white fruits, but pears and stuff like that in the diaspora. You give Obatala, but Obatala loves just yam. Obatala, that's the energy that likes white foods, any kind of white foods. Also in sacrifices, Obatala takes hens, some Obatalas take roosters. Obatala loves snails. Um, and there are whole songs and prayers about why snails, because snails is slow and wherever it walks it leaves a mark, so you can always find your way back, and snail is doing it. That snail walks with his own home, so that when you present a snail, you're asking about the may my house be safe, may I always have a home, may I not be homeless. So all of it goes into the brilliance of science. And when you're connecting to your Orisha with the white foods and the white cloth and the white things that you're coming to about their lives to remind you to that you are in this moment sacred and you want to be still and you want to be patient.
Mm, mm, that's what's up. Um, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, how do I say this? If somebody was interested in being on the path, what advice would you give to them in terms of choosing people, or how can they make their way onto the path?
Okay, onto the path is the first thing that you want to do is then start, as I say, praying, pouring libation, learning the basic things of how to connect to your ancestors. That's the first thing. You cannot start without connecting to who you are and who your people were. So you're going to start with your ancestral studies. And in your ancestors, you're going to pray and ask them to connect you to people who will be able to support the community that you're looking for. And
Mm,
then you ask friends. You can ask people. You hear of something that's happening in your community that is Orisha involvement, then you might go to it. And if it rings true to you, then you can go several times. You can see it. You can do it. You can go on Google. People find me through YouTube through my through my YouTube channel that I give a lot of baths and different things to connect you to Orisha, and then just start paying attention to what's going on. So if you are in the path, the first thing you need to do is connect to your ancestors. The second thing you need to do is just pay attention and always be doing meditation is a must. It's a must because we stay so busy in this culture and it takes us away. And so when you meditate, you're meditating on connecting to what is right for you in the next step, and so connection to that, and then as I said, then collaborating with people who you know that are worthy of it, or when you're going to Google and that, study and track people for a while. I with my system with the Yeyefini factor, I don't put elekes on anyone if you have not been dealing with me and we have not had a mutual respectful relationship for at least 2 years. I don't jump on because your reading said you need elekes, I'm ready to give it to you, because it means that when you receive beads, that's going to be one of the steps that you would learn down the road is receiving your beads, making a connection to someone that's going to be your godparent, both a godmother and a godfather is necessary, because now I see that there's a really an interest in just being when you're female and only having godfathers, it's very important for you to have a godmother. That's someone that when you're reflecting in front of, it's you in another, in yourself. And so the beads would be another step that you would take. And those are the things that you're going to develop a relationship with someone, so that you know that this person respects you and you respect them, and you can ask questions and they can guide you, and you watch the way they live as an example as to something that you perhaps want to be involved in, rather than just jumping in there and you're Googling and you're ready to get your beads and you want to put them on. And next thing you know, you say, I don't like this person because I realize they're struggling. So I'm divorcing my godparent and I'm going someplace else. And then in somewhere along the line, and you develop that relationship by familiarizing yourself with it, just as I did, going to the library and study, opening up myself. Then someone is going to come up to you and say, hey, I'm going to so and so. Would you want to go with me? You know, I was on the campus. I was smoking weed in Shaw campus when the brother said, you know, Yeyefini from the last point, you know, you need to get a reading. And I did. I didn't go out there asking for it. It just followed me. So it will find you. You just got to pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention.
What is an Ile?
An Ile is a house, is a group of people who come together to support the tradition of Yoruba, Ifa, Lukumi, whatever it is, Kondomble, whatever it is. That's an Ile or an Egbe. It's a clan, it's a group of people who have one common goal, which is support and respectfully share space, giving honor to this tradition. So it could be in any form of it. That's an Ile. That's a family.
Okay, so when you have a godmother and a godfather, what is that? Does that belong to an Ile or?
Right. Usually your godparent belongs to a line of priests who they're descended from, and that's that house, that's that family that you will then become a descendant of. And so that Ile have a certain that they have within themselves that's grounded in their tradition and grounded in some of the things that they have acquired. Every time it shifts, but it stays true to who they are. And so an Ile is where you get your connection, and your godparent, that connection that you have to the traditions that you will be now following upon becoming a member of that Ile or a member of that house.
Okay, so I just posted on the message your website and where they can find you at on Facebook. Where are you at in the United States? You're in California, correct?
Yes, I'm in California and in Florida. I have two temples. I have a temple in California and a temple in Florida. And so now I will be going to the temple in Florida at the end of October. But you can always find me on yeyefini.com or on Instagram or on YouTube. Go on my website and you have all the classes, the upcoming things. One of the things that I'm passionate about is my self-empowerment intensive, because as an African from the diaspora, we are looking for our family, we're looking for our parents, we're looking for what makes us who we are, and we're carrying with us a lot of pathologies that we have had that we don't even understand what it is. And so the ancestors gave me the system. As a matter of fact, I was in a cave in Jamaica because I lived in Jamaica for about 6 years. And so in that, they gave me a system of taking people from the diaspora into a 7-day retreat. And it's not a retreat, it's self-empowerment intensive, where you go in and you're able to then go in and tap into some of the pain or the abuse, the neglect, the molestation, the rape, all of the things that we experienced in the West because we did not have a community or Ile or family to hold us true to who we came on. That when we were born, we didn't have a reading that told us that this child should be protected from X, Y, and Z. And so in this process, you get reconnected into your own 7 generations of your family's legacy and imperfections, and you're able to work through that through possession. So it's a powerful, powerful thing. It's not about Orisha, it's about ancestry, about going back as a diasporan to connect to some things that our ancestors experienced, and we are still carrying some of that rage. We're still carrying some of that pain. We're still carrying it. And for me, what has worked over the years, it only works through rituals, because when you go into ritual space, you're not in control. So it goes in and shakes up, brings clarity and healing to your mother, your mother's mothers, your father's mother's father, to all that has happened since the beginning of time. And so that's what it is. That's what makes it so powerful. So
Wow. So when is your next one coming up for that retreat?
that is in 2019 is the next retreat. As you can go on my website and you see all of it, just look at events and it's there. It's a powerful, powerful thing that we go through, and we have also rites of passage for the youth that we go through, and that's starting up as well. 2019. Yeah, 2019 is starting up for the youth because we have young men and young women who are going through life not trying, not understanding the power that they have, and sometimes, by just the way that we're raised, we take away from the children's power by, not giving them what it requires, by just setting them up into situations, and sometimes their own spirit call for it, but we give you tools so that these children can know how to deal with bullying and drugs and addiction and trying to find themselves. That's what it is. So it's a lot that we do in my institute, and so for that reason, I established two places that I can be, and as well as, taking people to initiations. And that, as a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to do two initiations next month. And then also I take people to Africa to do their ifas and things to that extent. So it's always about a journey. And wherever you are in your life, you will find the help that you need. Just connect to your ancestors, take your time, connect to someone that is really doing the work, and look at their life. You gotta look at them, because one of the things that we wanted to say here in closing, if we, because I know we're running out of time, is that one of the taboos of Obatala is that when Obatala created human beings rather, different stories come up with as to how, whether he drank or he got tired or whatever it is, that he drank palm wine, because that palm nuts was one of the plants that came on earth to give us food, because um, we're able to get palm oil, we're able to get food. The palm kernel is the one food that has everything. It can give you heat, it can give you food, it can give you oil, it can make a lamp, it can give you drink. And so Obatala drank some, as some of the legend, or got tired and became inebriated, got drunk, and created people with deformities and that. And so out of his own redemption, he said, these people are now sacred to me. And so I will take care of them. But what that is saying, that the children of Obatala must make sure that you're not drinking. And people say, well, it's about Obatala not drinking palm wine. Well, palm wine does not exist in the West, so you can't get drunk with scotch, liquor, vodka. Say Obatala, and I'm not drinking palm wine. It is the taboo of Obatala children not to drink liquor, not to become inebriated, that you get to the point where you forget that you are the head source. You are what people are looking for. You are the white chalk that sprinkle, it leads to somewhere. You are the light that people are looking for. You are the lighthouse. You are the lighthouse of God that people who are lost are getting their guidance from. So people, children of Obatala, cannot, it's taboo for the children of Obatala to drink liquor. Because when you drink liquor, you make mistakes. And that you're not connected to yourself. And the mistakes that Obatala's children make when they're not connected to the truth that who they are as an expression of the most brilliant Orisha is catastrophe. And some of the catastrophe is painful, some of it is irreparable, some of it cannot be changed. So you have to remember that as children of Obatala, that's the one taboo, is you do not drink liquor.
I know. Okay, so one more question before we wrap this up. Is there any umbrella organizations where people who practice traditional African spirituality come together and meet up? Like, how the Baptists have the conventions, and, different religious groups have conventions where, no matter where they practice, whatever, they have moments where they all, like the Orisha conference. But I don't know if there's just a conference, or is that where a lot of people who practice African spirituality come together? Do you know of anything like that?
Well, I think that there are many groups that get together for different things. You have people in Candomblé that's doing stuff in Brazil. You have people right here in the United States. As a matter of fact, in October, the Omo Egbo Obatala have something for, this is the 21st year that they have, and their whole program is about Obatala. It's the Egbo Obatala. They have all of the ways of connecting to source and the things that you're doing in a community and all of that. That's one thing that they used to have an Orisha conference. I don't think they have had it in a number of years, but each community comes together to do what it is that makes sense to them. Like each village, each town in Africa, each town in America has a different way of celebrating July 4th. Some may do a barbecue, some may do a parade, some may do whatever. But everybody has a way that within your own community, and you got to be the change you want to be. So if there's someone out there that wants to see it happen, then get together with 4 people and say, okay, we're going to have a festival and so, and invite Rolanda, invite Yeyefini, or invite anybody else, you know, Funlayo, or any of the people that you've had on your show, come together and do it. But people are getting together, people are doing it. I love this generation that are you, because we laid the foundation in the 60s that you can worship Orisha unapologetically and openly and do the things that you are. So this is y'all's time for y'all to grasp it. It's time for the elders like myself to pass it on to you. So join it, do it in your community, establish your own church. My biggest dream is for us to have a Yoruba Academy for children. Children that you see them in their little uniform and going and learning Yoruba language, learning English, learning astrology, astronomy, learning sciences, and being the next leaders of the world based on traditional. Traditionalists, people who practice African traditional religion, can send their children and they feel proud. Yes, I graduated from that, you know, and that kind of thing. And we had that in Oyotunji when it was established, that we had our own schools and that kind of thing. So we need to make some more other Wakandas. We need to make some other Oyotunjis. Set up your own village. One village is not going to be it. Everybody has different ways of praising God, and so we need to have that. So it's not that we're looking for one opio dominant way, that everyone has to do it in your own home, in your own way, and just ask, look at the way the people are living their lives, and you can tell whether it works for you or not, and just keep it moving.
So as we wrap up, can you share a story of Obatala with us? Is there any particular story of him or her that you can share?
Okay, good. I'm going to share the one about Obatala, which I happen to be a priest of Obatala, and my path is Oshagiya. You have different paths because Obatala is wisdom and patience, but in all aspects of our life, where wisdom and patience when you were 21 is different of wisdom and patience when you're 71. So you understand? So there are different roles of Obatala, and it manifests as kindness and gratitude and patience and love, and how people come to find out. And you always have to come back to humility and love, you know, and not arrogance, and, you know, it's all about me. So depending on wisdom, you can be wise at 12, but then you're going to find somebody that's wiser than you at 17. So it's all about that. So the story of Oshagiya is that this road of Obatala, his children are always going to be challenged with this particular thing. So I love to say it. And Oshagiya is a very popular road of Obatala, you know, at Oshagiya. The Orisha of the power, and its sacred town is in Nigeria. And so, Ejigbo. And so Obatala Oshagiya is the road of Obatala, that he was a very popular diviner, was very wonderful priest, you know, that he always did things that was morally straight and correct. And, you know, he was held people accountable, not by saying, hey, y'all are doing the wrong thing, y'all are not doing right. It's just by the way that he was living, you know, people knew that, you know, at the end of the day, you know what's right and you know what's wrong. And so he was always the one that was doing what was right. And so the people that were not following suit were, you know, what you do in the dark is going to come to light when it's around light. And so this Oshagiya person was a very knowledgeable priest, very known for his abilities to help people, especially women, to give birth to children, to hold, because Obatala, since Obatala is the one that makes molds of children, Obatala is a form. And so he was known, he had the mystery of knowing how to help women to become pregnant. So one of the wives of the king had challenges getting, you know, to conceive. And she went everywhere. And finally she went to Obatala's, to Oshagiya's temple, and say, brother, can you help a sister out here? Because I'm trying to have a baby. And she said, I've been to here, I've been there, I've been everywhere. I like to tell stories so that's kind of every day rather than old past, you know? And so so he said, sure. Okay, come to my temple tomorrow and you bring me X, Y, and Z. So she came to the temple and he did the rituals and everything for her. Well, you know how it is when you're doing right and when you're walking the path and your own brilliance is your brilliance is so shiny that you have enemies and envy. Well, there
Mm.
were people who were very envious of Obatala. And they said that, of Oshagiyan, and they said that they were very jealous of Oshagiyan because they said, oh yeah, he think he know all of that, and so they tried to throw some, shame on him. And the haters came out and told the king that they saw his wife going into Oshagiyan's temple, and she didn't come out for a long time. And when she came out, she was smiling. And so, of course, they grabbed poor Oshagiyan and put him in jail and says, yes, you're sleeping with the king's wife and blah, 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 blah. They threw him in jail, locked him up, whatever jail was back in the day. It was probably a compound where he didn't have any communication with anybody, right? And so Obatala was like, okay, I'm going to chill because at the end of the day, y'all going to realize that, everything is everything, that I was not doing anything immorally wrong. And that's the thing with Obatala's children. That's why it's patience, is you have to just chill. And at the end of the day, your reputation will be saved by the character that you show. So
Mm.
Obatala was chilling. Well, throughout the town, the 16 years they had Obatala locked up, nothing was going right. Nothing. Everything was kind of just thrown around here, there, everywhere. There were no children being born. The lands were barren. No rain would fall. Men were losing their wives. Battles that they fought were people being killed. So they went to diviners and diviners and diviners. Nobody could figure out what was happening. So they went to another town and they said, look, I don't know what's happening in our town, but it's just wahala, just all kinds of loss. What is going on? They says, well, y'all cut Obatala off, the energy of creativity and peace, and that's why you don't have any progress in your town. They said, we haven't seen Obatala. We've been praying for him, for Obatala and help us. It says, yes, Obatala has been there and is living amongst you. They said, well, where? We don't know it. They said, y'all have locked him up because y'all accused him of sleeping with the wife of the king. They said, oh my God, you mean that old man? Oh, that's who he is. When they said, oh my God, they went to pull him out, said, forgive me. Bye. They honored him, put him on the throne. He became the king and all of the good stuff. And so the end of that story is letting us know that the children of Obatala are always going to be in a position, especially if you're Oshagiyan, people are always going to betray you. That's that path. And it's not that people are bad and you're good. It's just that this is the way that you're going to learn humility and to learn patience. That at the end of the day, you're going to come out okay. People are going to lie about you, talk stuff about you, invent stuff about you, but you just hold still and know that at the end of the day, they will know who you are by your character. Because
Mm.
Obatala went buck wild on them and said, hey, don't you know who I am? And bring out his credentials. He said, no, they got to learn the hard way, not to judge people, not to judge, but to know that, before you know the truth, you need to, really do your investigation. So that's the story I love to share on Oshagiyan. So if you are Oshagiyan's child out there, expect it. Expect it. And it's just, you're wired to trust people quickly. You're wired to come with insecurities and feel that sometimes you give people your power before it's earned. And
Mm.
the trust before it's earned, you're wired for that. So if you're Oshagiya, just trust it that at the end of the day, Obatala got your back. You got your back.
Queen Mother, thank you so, so, so much. Like, it's such an honor to have the opportunity to interview you, all the knowledge and wisdom that you share. I wish that we had you in our lives all of the time, because I do think when you can see where elders are missing, elder with knowledge, you can see where they're missing in our community. Because just in the story, you just taught a whole lecture just by that short story. We don't get
Yeah.
to get a lot of that in our
Yeah.
culture sometimes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And my radio show is coming up. I have a show every month for the past 8 years on Blog Talk Radio. It's called Ask Yeyefini. And all of it is in
Oh,
art. I have stuff for 7 years. And the one coming up, the one last month was about Oya and why she became the mother of the graveyard, because she was whacking kids. And so how she became the mother of the graveyard. But go on my website, or just Blog Talk Radio. And the one coming up is about Oya and how she's
wow.
managing her daughters, how the warrior women of Oya are coming out. So I have a priestess of Oya that's a judo master that does judo all over the world, that she's taken her craft of judo, which is a protection, and how she's using it to use it to help little girls protect themselves from rape and abuse and that. So it's an awesome, awesome show. But each show is just called Ask Yaya, Latina, African, and Blog Talk Radio. And I've been on for 7 years. So just listen to my once a month, sign up on my website for my newsletter at yeyefini.com. And every month, I only send out one newsletter. I don't flood your emails with stuff, just one. And in it, I have everything that's happening, the offers that I have. And I'm making an offer today, since it's the end of the, we have the last third of the year. Uh, go on my website and you can see the reading of the year that I did on January the 1st, so that we can tap into the power of this number 11 year. It is amazing. We won't have another 11, a number 11 year globally. I think it's still the year 25 something. So tap into that on my website and look up for the reading of the year for 2018, so that you can see exactly some of the tools and the things that you can do to really amass, especially for women. This is Women's Year. We have 3 months left for us to really tap into the glory and what it is that we're doing. Anything that women do this year, because the Iya means the mothers, Yamanja, or Ya and Oshun governing, and the Egg and Iya means are governing women and women's work, which is healing work. This is our charge. That's what we do. We're receptors. So go in there and do what it is that you do as a healer, what you're doing. And I bless you, my sister, for what it is that you're doing, that Obatala will continue to give you the sense of knowing who you are. And when your name is said, you show up as the person who was bold and was brave to bring Orisha into bringing the women and the people who are going to be speaking on Tuesdays. I bless you. I bless this work that you're doing, that may the ancestors expand you. And so the offer I'm making is that since it's the end of the year, for the next 3 months, so you know what you're doing, I'm offering readings on my 30-minute readings on my website. I'm going to fix it after we come off there, because my spirit just told me to do that. It's going to be a 50% discount on getting a reading for the next trimester, for the next November, for October, November, and December, how to proceed in how to connect to the Orisha in you. So I'm doing my readings at 50% discount. So my readings are $50. My reading will be $25 for the first 2 weeks. Until the ending of this month. So you make your appointment during this period till the end of the month on readings on how to tap into finishing off the year 2018. So this is my gift to you for doing this for us to share with this. This is my responsibility to you. So I give thanks, and that's the offer that I have for you. So thank you so much, my sister.
Thank you,
Go
Ria.
with God. Know that Obatala loves you, and that may Eshu continue to open the roads for you to bring the kind of caliber of women and men that will support with respect, unapologetically, the ancestors and the reverence of African indigenous culture. Give thanks.
Thank you. Peace and blessings.
Thank you, my sister.